In order to understand these experiences that had no referent in the culture of my time other than insanity, substance abuse, and delusion, experiences whose insight, ecstasy, freedom, and perplexingly novel nature further undermined and eroded my trust and credulousness in the authorities who categorized them so, I turned to the universe of word and image that the human organism had generated thus far, an evolving universe running parallel alongside our own, abstracted yet intertwined, both evolving both. It was fortuitous that this body, this form, this artificial construct of imaginary barriers that defined what is considered to be the I, had moved to a city whose university population was as close to the total population of the scrappy northern paper mill and penitentiary town from where I entered this world, where I could search through the aisles of the university library, my searches ending with me sitting in some isolated, quiet, and abandoned area, in some austere hardchair and graffiti scribbled cubicle, poring over stacks of thick books which, judging from their moldy and dusty state, were of no use or interest to anyone but myself. A city with bookstores other than the molecule-deep, mass-consumption paperback mall chains. Bookstores that stacked words and concepts and stories outside of the norm of that tiny, temporary construct that is currently thought to be human reality. Bookstores whose owners quizzically but dutifully ordered whatever unheard of and curious slab of ideas that I desperately needed at that moment. Poring over piles of unsorted books in the back rooms of creaky used bookstores, where hopefully the mad ranting and hollering of the proprietor had ended by the time I emerged from that cave of unwanted and forgotten words with some rare and obscure jewel, where he would grudgingly selling to me grumbling, "Where the hell did I find that one?" The living mind of words, ideas, and concepts is a network of associations which mirrors the mind as it is understood and experienced by nearly all human beings that have been born and lived and died on this planet. Except for a few who are able to evolve beyond that commonly accepted mind, the false mind, and transcend it, cast it aside, developing, rediscovering a true mind whose powers and capabilities are so radically different and powerful that our societies are built and based around those beings scattered across the plains of history. It would start with coming across some apparently random book, coincidental, but in retrospect fateful, destined, predetermined. Much like the circumstances that brought you to this book, these words, me, and through that gateway discover other books and ideas, always going deeper into that associational, relational, referential, near infinite matrix. What was I looking for? In those stacks of tomes that surrounded me as I lay in whatever shelter space I had flowed into at that time, continually transforming, evolving shapes of smoke and incense throughout the air of the room. Music the shape of trance and meditative states. Reading by the light of lunacy radiating through the windows, its mad light transforming those stacks of paper and ink into a silhouette of the towers and buildings of some ancient city that once existed in matter and form, now only in the topology of myth. In those lonely library floors and aisles, deserted by a world hypnotized by the black magic spells of flickering image and screen. In those used bookstores, I'd be unable to pass without entering to just take a quick look, to try and see, causing whomever I was walking with to ask in exasperation, what was I looking for? The awe-inspiring and puzzling experiences that were so far from the norms of what is commonly considered to be reality, and states of mind and being that made a mockery of the rules that held it together. Gateways to new realms of impossibility had broken me out of the trance state I had been living under my life previous, and sparked a burning need to find some answer, some words that would fill and seal the gap that was blown open in the structure of myself, wandering amongst its ruins, trying to find some concepts that could return its structural integrity again.